I like the idea that a voice can just go somewhere uninvited, like a dirty thought in a nice, clean mind.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Jay. This is Real Talk, and I got a special guest for you, Reno RX. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, man.
I definitely have a lot I want to talk to you about, but before we do that, everybody who watches the show knows I want to drop one of your songs right now so they know why we fuck with you.
You all ready? Let's go.
All right. This is Reno RX and Outro.
Yeah. Queens, nigga. You know. You fucking with it, Dawn. Rapper Holocaust. No numbers on our arms, though. We scratched them off. Molotov. Land on your mama porch. After court, I still have my suit jacket on. Fuck the back and forth. This ain't racquetball. Let the ratchet off and stash the corpse in some abandoned hall to lead attract the dogs along with half the force. Don't have to call and reinforce. It's just to grab me off and men the kids too. We can't leave orphans and the office. Family man, he lost it. The crime scene making rookies nauseous. We pushing Porsches. Only call back if the pussy's awesome. You shouldn't cross him. I put a swordfish through a nigga, then push him off it back into the ocean and had a Coast Guard looking for a miles from where the shore is. The alphabet alchemist whipping talcum in the pure shit. Clever anecdotes. I'm sick, somebody get the antidote. Every whip got a candy coat. Every clip got a calico. Every sentence is powerful, nigga. Fuck what you about to do.
Listen up, you little spazoids. I know where you live and I've seen where you sleep. I swear to everything holy that your mothers will cry when they see what I've done to you.
Queens. Highly explosive, it's like every line is corrosive. Eat through the track, whatever's inside, I'll expose it. They'll see through your back. If you survive multiple sclerosis time, wheelchair, home attendance, that's attempted homicide. Hold up, guys, this a hold up. Raise your hands both up high. I'm kinda shy, but the Mac loves to socialize. I'm so cold if I melted, niggas would see the ocean rise. Disappearing coastal lines, half the planet pulverized. Mass panic, turn your camp to poltergeist. I used to pedal speed, then I copped the motorbike. Tiger shoulder strike, strap sitting on my shoulder like a rolled up carpet while I unfold the sight so I can smoke my target.
That's what's up, my man. So I'll let everybody know you're from Queens. So we got East Coast in the house, a lot of East Coast viewers on the show. So
Yes.
man, I'm excited to talk to you, and I'll say it like I said to you before we got on the air, man. When I heard your song, I was like, man, I got to hear more from this dude.
Yeah, man, I got the EP coming out soon. EP self-titled, just bringing the bars back, man. None of that fluff.
No, definitely lyrical, and that's something I really get into when I listen to any kind of rap. You're very lyrical, and I really appreciate that in your music.
Right, Matt. It's like I'm from that school, I'm a little older. I'm not like the young boys, I'm not dancing and doing all that shit. I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna fuck your mind up,
Absolutely. And so when did you get into music, man? Has it been something you've been doing your whole life, or when did you really decide, hey, I love this and this is what I want to do?
Oh man, that is my whole life. I'm from Flushing, Queens, so I come up around Large Professor, Royal Flush, Mike Geronimo, Shy Skills from Onyx, man. I had no choice. It was everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. And you were ringing out names that bring me back to my childhood. So we're the old heads, I think, now.
Oh yeah. We're the generals.
I like that. We're the general. I like that. I'm gonna wear that motherfucker right there. Just the generals of hip hop.
Hell yeah. We put our time in, and hip hop is we've progressed exactly with it, so different age groups like different things, I respect what the younger crowd is doing. It's fire, but there's our age group too who came up with the bars, the lyricism and all that. I'm trying to bring that back. Also, I produced the whole EP myself too. So I do beats as well.
Yeah, and that's something like you and I grew up in a time where the Zulu Nation changed hip hop, where there was groups out there that changed hip hop. And sometimes I look at these younger cats and and don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on the younger generation. They got some good music. It's different. But I feel like they didn't get to see the change in the hip hop world that people our age got to see.
Well, nah, and that's definitely not their fault. And they're part of the evolution of hip
Right.
hop. You know, like what they're doing isn't necessarily for us, but that doesn't mean it's bad for us. It's actually great, man, to see them take the baton and take off the way they are.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that you people our age got to see an evolution that it was just amazing because I grew up with people around me, adults are like, oh, that's a fad. That'll never last. What is that shit you're listening to? And now it's 2022 and it's like, yeah, it's still here. It's owning the radio waves. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I don't think they got to see that evolution. And to me, it's kind of sad because I don't think they got to experience what we experienced in the world of hip hop.
Well, they didn't, but I think, you know, everything has its place, you know. What they're doing right now, there's gonna be a generation that's not that wasn't privy to that, you know, and they're gonna lose out on that. But the history's there. Thankfully, you know, with the advent of technology, the internet and all that, we can go back and we can see, they can see, you know, so I mean, it's hip hop is still very young too as far as a genre. So it's not like they got to really go digging in the crates to find out what's what.
No, and that's the great thing about technology. So when I was young, to find somebody new, if you didn't get your hands on a mixtape, you were
Yeah,
never
yeah,
going to find out who was, next or what was up in the hip hop world. Now it's amazing. It's all at your fingertips, man. You can YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever.
yeah, man. And before our generation, you know, I have to imagine it was even harder. I guess you just had to rely on the radio, go out and get a record or something, you know. But it's constantly changing.
And as a hip hop artist, that's got to be great for you because the game's changed in the fact that when we were younger, there was a handful of labels that controlled all of music. And now there's a lot of indie artists. Everybody can throw their stuff out on YouTube. You don't have to wait for some talent agent from Interscope who has no idea about hip hop to try to give you a record.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, some people don't like it. They say it's more competitive now or too easily accessible, but that just raises the bar, you know, and then people love it. So why not be able to do it? It's wonderful, you know. I love it.
Yeah, as a fan of hip hop, I can't sing, I can't rap, none of you want me to, but having all of these artists at a touch of a fingertip and that I get to scroll through YouTube and SoundCloud every day, it's exciting to me. And I was telling you, yeah, I run into a lot of bad music or music I don't like, but what it's almost like you're digging through some old stuff and then all of a sudden you find something new and you're like, "Oh my gosh, it's almost Christmas Day up in here."
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, man. Everybody has their own perception, and there's something out there for everyone. Nobody's left out.
So who was your biggest influence as a hip hop artist coming up?
Oh man, I'm gonna say there's a couple. Nas, of course. Um, I'm gonna say even 50 Cent. Like he really changed the game. I'm a Queens guy, so I'm gonna name Queens MCs. You know, LL Cool J. You know, these are the guys who paved the way, and not just you know lyrically or musically. You know, they set the tone for business. The way people are doing business nowadays, like they built that foundation. So I have to take my hat off to those guys.
Yeah, and shout out to LL for sticking up for all the old school hip hop artists this week. He really laid into I forget the DJ's name off the top of my head. Sorry guys, but he really laid into him and stuck up for the old school.
Yeah, academics. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
And you know, it's just a difference of perception because academics is obviously younger and he sees it from his point of view. You know, you can't fault him for not knowing or not recognizing what happened before him. He wasn't there. He only sees what he sees now.
Yeah, it did turn into some internet stuff though, huh? Because I seen some other artists came out at him. So he's dealing with some backlash of the old heads right now.
Well, that's great though, because at the end of the day, it's art, and art is supposed to spark thought and conversation.
Absolutely. That's a good point. I know that I got it sent to me the other day and I was like, I didn't even see this. And I was watching it. For LL, who's older and more chill now and whatever, he got pretty heated though.
Well, I can understand that because it feels like a jab towards him, and I don't agree with academics with his assessment of the situation. But you know, that's like saying you want to be pissed off at the forefathers who came over to this country and started building so that we can have what we have today. You know, you don't know their struggle. You weren't there, and the goal of them was for us to be better now. So that's how it's supposed to go. They did their job.
Oh, absolutely. And if you look back at, I mean, it's to the point where some of these guys, and not everybody, but some of them are making real money. And if you look back at older hip hop artists, they may have changed the game or influenced hip hop without making the money some of these young guys did. And I don't know what his spending habits were or what he made, but one of the biggest tragedies in hip hop to me was is that um, Grandmaster Jay, he died broke.
Well, I mean, if you go back, you know, there's a lot of artists from the Renaissance era that died broke too. They didn't, money is not everybody's goal. You know, what if we just want to get our art out there? What if that's our wealth? You know, you can't measure another man's success by your own judgments. You know what I'm saying? So it don't work that way. But everybody has their own opinion, like I said.
No, I agree. I was just saying a guy like Grandmaster changed hip hop, and then you look at and like he didn't make what some of these guys are making, but if it wasn't for him or other guys like him, the other guys that we see making money, the 50s, the Dre's, they wouldn't even be around.
Yeah, yeah, and that's how it goes, man. We all standing on the shoulders of giants at some point. That's just how it is.
So when you start to write a song or you start to think about making music, do you go with the beat first? Do you write the lyrics first, or does it not matter to you? Does it go either way?
Um, you know, I usually start with the beat first because I'm a producer. So, you know, I didn't even want to be a producer, but I got tired of dealing with producers. So I just started making beats too. And now, yeah, you know, I pretty much make the beat. And if it moves me, I do what I do with it, you know?
So what's that process like for you? You just sit down, get in front of like a laptop or whatever and start making some beats and go from there?
Shit, I wish I could make it sound that easy, man. You know, some days I just don't feel like it at all, or I just have creative blocks. I mean, it comes in spurts. I really don't even know if I could take the credit because sometimes it just comes to me out of nowhere. I don't know where it come from, and you know, all it takes is one word or one sound to spark a million ideas.
So like you could just be sitting there during the day, hear a sound and then go and then just start thinking on it and come up with a beat from there.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So recently, you know, sound doesn't travel through space, but NASA has amplified the waves, the radio waves from the sun. So they gave us an idea of what the sun sounds like. It's this deep droning hum type of thing. And I heard that the other day. I was like, that shit's got to go with a beat right there. And something like that just inspired me. Wrote two songs off of that.
Yeah,
You know, it's everywhere.
that's got to be crazy when you're going through like creative block and then all of a sudden it hits you and all of that just starts pouring out.
You know, I've been doing this for a long time and I still don't understand it, man. I just attribute it to a higher power. I don't know. And I take it as it comes.
So now when you make something, a beat, a song, whatever, are you a perfectionist or are you one of them dudes where once you get it to where you want it, you're like, that's it, I got to hit the studio, I got this.
So I might get it to a point where I'm like, okay, I might start a beat and get it to a point where I'm like, okay, I can write to it like this. And then I'll write to it. And after I write to it, I'll change the beat according to it. So they kind of piggyback each other. You know, one will spark the other. It's like a chain reaction.
And are you a perfectionist? Because I know for me as a content creator, whenever I make something, be it a documentary or anything, the first time I make it, I fucking hate it. And then I go back through and I change it and I flip things and I move it around. And then by the time I'm done, I'm like, okay, this is what I was going for.
Yeah, I guess I'm a professional. I mean, a perfectionist in that sense because you know, it's like cooking. You know, like you're in the kitchen cooking for hours and shit. You're making this fucking amazing meal, and then when you're done, you might not feel like eating that shit. You know, you might have to let it sit for a bit. You know, work your appetite back up. But I'm finicky, man. Like I'm a real artist. I get I get finicky about my shit sometimes, man. I just throw some shit out, then try and find it again, man. Is no exact procedure to it. But yeah,
Right.
perfectionist, yeah, I have to love it before I let it out, you know?
Absolutely. And I definitely got more I want to talk to you about. But before we do that, I got a quick word from our boys over at Overtime Hustling.
What's good? It's your homie, Freezes Christ. Y'all know the deal. Make sure y'all head on over to overtimehustling.com where you can catch all the latest merch, all the newest mags, all the media, everything, know what I mean? And you can also find me on Winging It with the homies Keith G, King Dale, and Payne Gusto. And you can catch me on Turf Tales with the homie SK. And if you got nothing to do on Sundays, even if you do got something to do, make sure you tap in the Overtime Reactions hosted by the homie Cuzzo. And I cannot forget the homie Jay over there at the Yankee and the Brit channel. So make sure y'all go over there and check them out. And hey, check me out, your boy Freezes, on that Real Talk with Jay. It was a hell of an interview, yo. Gotta do it again. I keep saying it because I mean it. We gotta do it again. I had a great motherfucking time. But anyway, you know who it is. Freezes H, OTH, Yankee and the Brit, Winging It, Turf Tales, Overtime Reactions, Chronicles Podcast. You know the drill, Cush's Corner. It's a motherfucking movement. So move with it or move out the motherfucking way. Simple and plain.
Overtime hustling, we hustling overtime.
All right, guys, go over to Overtime Hustling, catch the newest magazine, get some merch. Kush Kennedy, SK the Rider, General GC, they're all over there. Go cop their music. And like I always say, they can show you better than I can tell you. So that's overtimehustling.com. All right, man. Well, with this EP you got coming out, man, what was the thought process in that? Was it just you had some material you wanted to get out? Is there something that like pushed you to do this? What was the process behind this EP coming out?
So my brother Nice the Future, who, you know, prolific artist, you know, Mobb Deep, G Unit, he's been around. He's got an album out right now too, Forever Mobbin'. Entirely produced by Ito. I'm featured on 3 cuts on there. It's fire. You know, he pretty much told me it's time. You know, he said he pulled my coattail, told me, listen, we got to do this. Because I'm kind of an artist that's satisfied with like I make music for me, you know, and I could give a shit who hears it. That's just how it is. And he told me I need to get it out there because until I do, it's just the idea. So I said, you know, let me get my hat back in the ring. But I mean, before this, when I was 16 years old, I had to deal with Universal, signed to Herbie Azar, Herbie Lovebug. You know, they found the Salt and Pepper Kid and Play and all that. So, you know, it was just time.
And what was his name again? Because I'm gonna go check that out after we're done too.
Oh yeah, Nice the Future. Yeah, right. That new album out, Forever Mobbin'.
Yeah, and then my co-host for a show called Playlist is like you. He's an artist who's got great music and could give a shit less who hears his music. He just likes making it.
Right. Because at the end of the day, if you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for other people. You don't really have no identity. You know, it's a plus that people get to hear it. I appreciate anybody that wants to hear my music, and that's the icing on the cake. But at the end of the day, you know, I just do it. It's like therapy, you know?
Yeah, I can't even remember what song of yours I heard. I'm pretty sure I messaged you it when I messaged you on Instagram. But I heard that first song and was like, holy fuck, this guy is coming with it. I need to hear more and I need to talk to him. Like just that one song I heard had me.
Yeah, man, we got plenty more like it, man. This EP is just the start, you know. I'm signed with Front Row Entertainment. That's got Ito on it, Nice the Future, Coco, J Black, you know, a lot of talented people. And I mean, Ito alone, like, you know, he's a legend. He's a staple in hip hop. So I'm blessed to work with all of these guys. Nice the Future, he's a legend, you know. Prodigy of Mobb Deep picked him out of the crowd, you know, handpicked him. So, you know, there's a lot of talent out here.
R.I.P. Prodigy. Yes. So before we keep going, I want everybody to hear your song, Mr. Universe.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. pistol whip a little kid over something the parent did. Barbarian shit, Bavarian whips. They thought I left this life alone. Nah, I married the bitch. Shit to get uglier than Harriet Tubman. I dare you to flinch. All my niggas carry it public everywhere at events. And my trap is very productive, so I'm fairly convinced. The D's watching, they're probably up there in the vents, just eavesdropping. They want me doing years in the feds, but yo, my trap boom like a landmine. Who am I? Catch you on the Van Wyck or Van Wick. The doors on the van slide, your man hit the flat line of transit, nigga. We on that time, got no time for antics. I was raised on Mobb Deep and Francis, the praying mantis, waiting to ambush niggas, tape on the handgun. You know the anthem killed him even though I got the ransom. Shot him in the back, he ran, some and collapsed. Yes, yes, watch the God manifest. Something out of nothing, then expand and stretch. Everything around me dying, I can't stand the stench. It's Mr. Universe, watch the champion flex. Yes, yes, watch the God manifest. Something out of nothing, then expand and stretch. Everything around me dying, I can't stand the stench. It's Mr. Universe, watch the champion flex. I'm an animal, some rappers like I record in a tanner booth. We get it out the dirt like camel hooves and Cameroon. Anything I ram into, I leave an antler wound. 12, I have the crime scene sealed up tighter than the Pharaoh's tomb. We kick in the door and snatch the valuables. Last thing you hear is the barrel boom is deafening. Kill rapper after rapper, you see how I do it effortless. God body, they might have to write a New Testament. Y'all got too much estrogen. I know you tired of gun bars, but I don't do no wrestling except for when I slam a brick to jump up then attack the ref. Fans going crazy in the stands, I am the champion. Big belt cover my abdomen, you know what class I'm in. Yes, yes, watch the God manifest. Something out of nothing, then expand and stretch. Everything around me dying, I can't stand the stench. It's Mr. Universe, watch the champion flex. Yes, yes, watch the God manifest. Something out of nothing, then expand and stretch. Everything around me dying, I can't stand the stench. It's Mr. Universe, watch the champion flex.
Yeah.
I can feel the New York in that song.
Oh yeah, man, that song right there, Mr. Universe, is actually dealing with a little bit of science too. You know, I talk a lot of hardcore shit in there, but it's actually about the universe. You know, entropy, time passing, the Big Bang theory's all in that. You know, watch the God manifest, something out of nothing, then expand and stretch. The universe expand. You know, I try to throw a little knowledge in there too, sneak it in there.
It's funny you said that because that was the next point I was going to make, is that your lyrics are Wu-Tang-ish on the fact that you're actually talking about something that people wouldn't probably catch on to the first time they listen to your music.
Well, that's my goal. I want you to be able, I want to give you a reason to come back to it. You know, I want every time you listen to it to find something new. Otherwise, it'll get boring, it'll get stale. I'm not just trying to entertain. Like, I want it to be a different experience every time you go back and hear it.
And I am a very repetitious music listener to the point where I drive my wife insane because I will listen to the same songs over. And the first time I listen to a song, it's more about like, I'm feeling it, I'm hearing it, and then I catch little Easter eggs, right? And then I go back through and I listen to it even deeper, and I'm like, oh, I see what they're saying. And music like that makes me think, that's the music that gets me. Like, you can have a great beat and a great sound behind it, and yeah, it's catchy, and you know, we'll listen to it a lot. But when you can make somebody think and hit them in the brain with your music, it's a different type of feeling.
Yeah, man. Like I steal from the masters, to be honest with you. I steal their ideas. Like, you know, you go to the Mona Lisa, you got people still studying a chick's smile, you know, however many years later. You know, you have to be intriguing. You have to be, you have to give people a reason to want to fuck with you.
Well, and it says a lot about you as an artist that you're on that type of level when you're writing the verses and you're like, when you're handling all the bars. Like, it's not just, I think you said it earlier, but it's not fluff. You know what I mean? There's like real substance to what you're doing. And I, as a fan, really appreciate that type of music.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you can, a lot of people, if you just skim the surface, it sounds like I'm talking a lot of gangster shit, and that's also on purpose because you know, hip hop was making noise, and like when the gangster rap was big, NWA with all the fuck the police and everything. Like a lot of people criticized that, but we got people's attention. It went to the level of Congress. You know, they were mad. They were steamrolling albums out on the street. That's provocative. That's art.
So I took my daughter to see Straight Outta Compton. My wife and I, she was probably, I don't know, 15 or 16. I don't remember when it came out. She's 23 now. Do the math, whatever. She says to me, though, afterwards, she said something that blew my fucking mind. She looked at us after the movie and goes, they were the YouTube of the 90s. And I'm like, what? She goes, they were telling you everything that was going on, but you didn't have it on video to see it. Like, she was like, they were the YouTube of the 90s. And I was like,
Right.
look at you, man, blowing my mind with that one.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think. That's how it started. You know, before we had pen and paper and we're able to record, stories were passed down orally. And you know, it's just this is just a natural progression of that.
Yeah, it's like, I'll say it again. I probably say it way too much. It's the lyrical part of music that gets me, right? Now, if you have a shitty beat or the song's just trash, it's trash. But if you can put some real insight to what you're saying, I feel like a lot more hip hop fans will feel it.
Oh yeah, yeah. But you know, I've also found you have people that don't want to think. Some people just want to dance. Some people just want to have a vibe. So you know, there's something for everybody. But for me personally, I can only speak for myself, and you seem to be in agreement with this. I want to be intrigued. I want to be made to think. You know, I want a reason to be there. It's not good enough just to vibe.
No, and I love music and I love information. So it mixes for me. Like when I met my wife, I used to always joke with her that I'm an encyclopedia of useless knowledge. You know, like, so if you can make me think, then you got me. But most of the hip hop fans I know, and it's not even just my age, because I know a lot of younger hip hop fans that are like, man, they love don't get me wrong, my wife and them love the dance music, but they're also like, when they hear something, they'll be like, oh, I didn't even hear that before. You know what I mean? Even my wife in the car will hear a song for like the 15th time and they go, did they just say this? And that's the kind of stuff I'm like, yeah, you got that. We can fuck with you now, you know?
Exactly. You know, because like I said, people are not stupid, and whether they know it on a conscious level or not, they want to be entertained in a certain way. They want to be, you know, they want to be challenged a little. They don't the same old. That shit gets tired.
So I have a fun question for you. This is something that sparks up a lot of debate when I ask it because you get a different answer from every artist. So not of that you like your favorite. Who are your top 5 hip hop artists of all time? And I'm not saying you got to rank them to what you think is like the lyrically greatest or whatever, but like when you go to your iPod or whatever you listen to on, what are your top 5?
I'm gonna start with Big because a lot of people don't realize that this guy was really young when he was doing what he was doing. You know, rest in peace to him. Um, and it was amazing. It wasn't just the words either; it was the cadences and the way he used an inflection on certain words. Like it was like geometry. The shit was insane. And the same thing with Nas too. The way he painted pictures with his words. Like, you know, we're getting beyond music when you talk to these guys. And again, LL Cool J, like, I mean, shit, when the Mama Said Knock You Out album came out, this guy dropped like 9 singles off of that album. That shit was insane. Um, so that's 3. Oh, of course, Jadakiss, because you know, he's like a fucking freak of nature. Like, this guy's just been great for decades. Like, you know, there's no getting around that. And then I have to say, my brother Nice the Future. Nobody can write a song like this guy. He's incredible. You know, just his innate understanding of music and essentially math, because that's all it is at the end of the day. It's math. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. And those guys that I just named, I feel like they take it the further step, you know, because some people are just good and they don't know why they're good or how they're good. They have an innate understanding of the science of music and how to present it, and they take it that serious. And because they create masterpieces.
So for me, the goat of hip hop will always be Rakim. That's just me, though. I'm old. Maybe that's it too. Rakim.
He's definitely like, I mean, he didn't even curse,
Yeah,
you know, and
one line in one song ever. He swore. That's it.
yeah, we can't hold that against the God.
Right. Right. No, I agree.
Yeah, and see, it also top five, man. That's a trap when people
Well, yeah,
ask you that.
that's why I always say your favorite, because like I get into this argument. People are always like, I have people who throw Little Wayne up in there, and then they get mad at me when I'm like, I don't even know if Wayne's in my top 20, but I love Wayne. The thing is I'm older, so there's a lot of guys who like my favorite. Rakim is the GOAT, but if I go to my iPod, it's MC8 is number one on my playlist.
Oh, MC8, yeah. See, and that's why the top five is too constricting. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like you got like even if you deal with painters, nobody asks who are your top five painters because there's different types of painters, different mediums, you know. So it's just you can go on forever with that question.
That's why I changed how I worded it, because I used to ask people who's the top five hip hop, and then now it's your top five, because then there's a lot less, argument, because that's what you listen to.
Right. And tomorrow my top five may be completely different.
This
You
is a
know?
fact too. And then you brought me down memory lane because you brought up LL, and the only thing that kept going through my head was Brenda got a big old butt. So that
What's
walking
it?
with that walking with a Panther album was one of the first. Like I was like, damn.
Damn. He came out rapping about, you know, luxury and just different type of things at a time where everybody was like, you know, pro-black and Africa, and he got criticized a lot, but now everybody is rapping about what he's rapping about. He was a genius. You know, he had the foresight.
LL was my childhood in a lot of ways, and I don't even realize it sometimes because there was still b-boys on the street when I was a kid breakdancing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who did they dress like? They almost all dressed like LL. You know, it didn't matter if they were white, Hispanic, Asian, black. They dressed like LL.
Yeah, and you talk about like getting it from the ground, like look at a song like Going Back to Cali. He didn't just use a flow; he invented flows. Like he was the first to do these things, and it was very unorthodox. He took insane chances, and that's what art is about: taking chances and believing in the shit that you got in your brain.
And then guys like him who are super talented flipped that into acting and different things. And he's been in some movies and some TV shows where I was like, damn, this dude can act too.
Yeah, yeah, him, Queen Latifah, most definitely. These guys got Tony Awards and shit. Like that's again the evolution of hip hop, and that's why kind of to go back to the academics thing. You can't measure it one way because maybe they didn't reach all the accolades that you might today in music, but you know, again, they're accomplished actors, authors. You know, you can't put a lid on that.
No, and that's one of the things we talk about on the playlist is like hip hop artists who changed our lives. And I love listening to how other people um, explain who and why changed their life, because we all got a different story of how we got to our love for hip hop or whatever. Um, and there's different points in our lives where different music changes us, and that's what's the most amazing thing about music.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like it's associated with memories too. Like, you know, going back to LL and Nas, like, you know, that's nostalgic for me. And that's why I get that a lot of the younger kids don't get it because they weren't there. They can't tie it to moments in their lives. And, you know, and things are a little bit more fleeting nowadays too. It's more like a cookie cutter process where you gotta come out every week. You can't give anybody a chance to have a life experience to your music because you got to drop another album for 2 months.
Yeah, it is crazy because like I grew up on Black Sheep, Boogie Down Productions, Tribe Called Quest,
Mhm.
Brand Nubius, these kind of groups. But then this is MC8 for me. I heard MC8's Straight Up Menace, and I was like, "What is that? That changed my life. I need more." And then I just listened to that Menace to Society soundtrack for a whole summer, just on repeat.
Yeah, I mean, like, and again, it's like it's hard to have a top five because
Yeah.
MC8 was totally different from a MC Shan. You know, it was that West Coast perspective, and he had that crazy voice. He's rapping over these slow beats and talking this real life gangster shit, and it was like, whoa, like you really got a glimpse in the LA gang culture when you listen to that shit.
No, and I love the fact that, and it's still somewhat like this, but it's more mixed. And it's probably better now. But in the 90s, it was like, so the East Coast flow, you could hear it. You knew who those hip hop artists were. The West Coast, you knew who they were. Even the Midwest, I grew up on Da Brat, Twista, Dayton Family. Like, you could tell they were from the Midwest. There was something about just back in the 90s, just hearing them for one verse, you could pretty much guess where the music was from.
Well, yeah, but that's how culture is all around. Like, it's hard to you find less all white or all black neighborhoods now because over time we all mix, the cultures mix, we share ideas like we're supposed to. And it's not that people are biting each other, but we're reproducing and recreating sounds constantly, and they're gonna mesh. And it's harder to tell who's from where now, but that's just the product of the times.
Well, yeah, because 5 years ago in the UK, it was either you were a grime hip hop artist or you were a drill hip hop artist, and now you can't tell anymore. So I love it's all like a melting pot of music together. But I did also love the time where as soon as you heard somebody sing, you were like, "Oh, I bet they're from the East Coast." But now I think music is getting better because, like you said, it's not biting. If I hear somebody do something amazing, but I'm like, I can kind of do what they do, but twist it this way, and it fits me, and it fits what I'm doing, and it's a new sound. That's evolution, right? Not copying.
Right, right, right. And it's a natural thing. I remember when I was in high school and Life After Death came out, and Big is on a song with Bone Thugs and Harmony rapping like these guys. And I just said,
Notorious
what the
Dog.
fuck? My mind was blown, and it didn't offend me. It didn't make me think he was trying to bite. I just said, wow, we're able to do that. I was impressed. And that's just how it is.
Man, that album was straight fire.
Classic. There's so many hits on there. The whole Bad Boy era, they get a lot of flack, but they were kicking ass out there, still.
Yeah, the one Bad Boy artist who doesn't get enough credit is Craig Mack.
And he's the one who started it all off.
Yes.
That is the crazy thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But he's like one of those artists that academics talked about. He started the Bad Boy thing. He had it on his back, and he went platinum. But he gets overlooked a lot of the times. But again, if there was no Craig Mack, there wouldn't have been no Biggie. He funded all that, through the proceeds from his album sales, and then they just kept going from there. You got to have those guys on the ground.
And this ain't to shit on anybody on Bad Boy, but like when people bring up Bad Boy, they'll bring up Mace before Craig Mack, and I'm like, how the hell did you get to Mace before Craig Mack?
Well, see, that's what it is. Like you have to have a Craig Mack to have a Mace, and a lot of people are unsung heroes, and you never know it. But when you do the research, that's why it's dope. Now we get to go back and find out, okay, who's this Craig Mack fella? Flavor in Your Ear was huge when it came out. It was crazy, and he had a unique style, and off of his back, a whole empire that reigned for a decade and a half, but nobody would know.
Yeah, the music scene is so crazy because the more you talk about one artist, the more you start to think about another artist, and it's never a straight line, right? So that's the cool thing about hip hop is you can have two artists that are very similar or do the same style of music, but it was never a straight line on how either of them got there.
Right. And that's good. Everybody has their own pathway, and it just provides more fodder for the people. Like, oh, let me go and look at this. Let me do some research on this. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's like a library, Where did this guy get his inspiration from and why? And now you're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and there's something about that rabbit hole that can like it's nostalgic, right? Like you just keep that you hear something and you're like, there's so many times I'll hear a song and I'll be like, man, I haven't heard that in years. Why haven't I been listening to that for years? So
Yeah, man. I mean, it's amazing. I love it. Like I can, oh man, I can have a hip hop conversation all day for hours and go on because and even before the hip hop, you go into the old soul music, rock and roll. Like it's endless. It's endless. And again, I touched on this before. This all goes back to the tradition of us telling our stories. You know, to the next generation because we didn't have pen and paper. Then some guy broke out a drum and he starts beating into it, and it just gets crazy when you get down to the roots of it.
yeah, and you always have these guys who are paving the way for others. Like you said, this generation's going to have the way, or the guys who paved the way. I mean, I don't know why it popped in my head, but I think back to the 90s where Ice-T said, fuck it, I'm going rock and I'm doing body count. And some people didn't like it, but it opened the door for other musicians to kind of like go, well, I'm more than just a hip hop artist. I want to throw, you know, um, different genres into my hip hop. And I feel like artists like Run DMC with Aerosmith and Ice T
Hmm.
with Body Count, they opened the door for everybody to do these types of things.
Yeah, man, because nobody's one way. Nobody's one way, and we're gonna get our shit out regardless. And even you go to Body Count, they had the song "Cop Killer," talking about basically fighting social injustice the way they could fight it. Like the shit was deep and it was meaningful. He didn't just go into rock. He went into rock and started some shit.
Right.
And again, it's getting our stories out through the music.
Yeah, I remember Ice T once saying, I don't agree with him because I think he was good, but I remember Ice T once saying, he's like, I'm not good at hip hop. My greatest gift is that I can hustle people into believing I'm good at hip hop.
you know, if that's how he feels, it's got to be valid. And if that's the case, then he is a mean hustler, because he got me through it too. But yeah, that's how it is for most of us, man. We're all just doing what we can to get our message out to be heard.
All right, man. It's already been a great conversation. I kept you almost 15 minutes longer than I normally do. So before we get out of here, what's next for you, man? You got the EP coming. What else you got going on?
Oh man, got an album with my brother Nice the Future again, where I produced the whole album. That's gonna be amazing. And then I have a LP coming out next year sometime. It's gonna be produced entirely by Ito, so that's gonna be insane. And other than that, I don't know. I fly by the seat of my pants, because it's however the mood moves me.
Well, and let's let everybody know where they can find your music and follow you so that they can keep up with you when you do drop your EP and your LP and things like that. Why don't you give them your social media?
Oh shit. For right now, you could really only find me on you can find me go on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all that. I'm featured on the Nice to Future album, Forever Mobbing, an amazing album. Um, and other than that, right now, like I didn't even do the YouTube shit. Like I really do make music for me. I'm a fucking caveman, bro. Right now you can find me Reno_RX on Instagram, and that's leading. I'm working on getting better though. I'm a little antisocial, but as we progress, you'll be able to see the links on my Instagram. Go from there.
I love that. I'm a caveman. I don't know why it fit. I love that, man.
Yeah, I gotta keep it honest, man. I don't have all the technology shit going that everybody else does, but I'm gonna get there. Right now, Reno_RX on Instagram. Check me out. You find links to everything I'm involved with right there for now.
No, I feel you. The guy I started this pot or this channel with is from Britain, but he's 24. I'm 44. So I'm hitting him up all the time, like, bro, this Instagram ain't working. What's going on? Like.
Yeah, man. Shit is moving at light speed.
All right. So for anybody who watches the show, you already know, but if it's your first time, just because we're saying goodbye does not mean it's over because we're going to leave you with his song Uncut. But before we do, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you giving me your time, and I can't wait to see what you have coming out next.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you go over and check out the playlist. Payne Gusto and I are having a blast with it. But that's over on Overtime Hustling on YouTube. So go check that out. One world, one love. Deuces.
Peace.
Yo, it's stovetop, pole pot, stick up your dope spot. Cambodian opium as soon as the boat dock. Fans ogling Ferragamo loafers with no socks. Summer home in the Ozarks, like Mozart. Y'all talk tough but have no heart. Capital R, I used to stuff crack in the jars. Sit back, watch the tarantula crawl. I took a loss, but it wasn't substantial at all. You niggas soft, too much partying and drinking champagne. I had you scared to come out the crib like Anne Frank. Yeah, they know me in the Bay like Ann Banks. They know me. False compartment in the gas tank. It's nigga Reno, nigga, we live like oligarchs. Mama love crib and get hit with the Molotov. Problem solved, we ain't with the monologue. My shooters don't get paid till the body fall. It came to me like a song I wrote. All they really want is uncut dope. That raw shit straight off the boat. All they really want is uncut dope. Yeah, fresh off the boat. The feds said that I'm out here selling death, but really what I'm selling is hope. That's all I'm doing. Be careful if your tolerance low. You see my stamp on that bag, then I gotta be that uncut dope. Yeah, I step out with the rollie on. Make feds do 180s in their vans like Tony Hawk. Rapunzel bitch with me ass fat in the pony lawn. Go against all, you know the odds. My shooters gon' clap in the crowd with no regard. Big barrel of acid, your body dissolve. You know I look like a giant to niggas. Straight can lie if they can't tell if they're shrinking or if I'm getting bigger. The one-man terrorist cell. Bitch, I pull that bucket up like I went to the well. Wet your block up and send you to hell. Shit'll sound like an elephant fell. Text scat and call it elephant's gel. I'm at the top of the food chain. Putin dropping bombs on the Ukraine. They say my tactics inhumane. Order it hit while I sip Douce. El Duce, pissing on the bitch you claim. This nigga Reno, motherfucker. It came to me like a song I wrote. All they really want is uncut dope. That's all they want. That raw shit straight off the boat. All they really want is uncut dope. Yeah, fresh off the boat. The feds said that I'm out here selling death, but really what I'm selling is hope. That's all I'm doing. Be careful if your tolerance low. You see my stamp on that bag, then I gotta be that uncut dope. Dope, dope, dope.
Everything's polluted. The environment, the government, the schools, you name it.
This radio person is the whole problem. Are we going to allow this guy to be heard by anyone who can turn a dial?
You out there? You listening?